You think you're just grabbing coffee, but you're actually walking into a trap. Starbucks, Dunkin, Dutch Bros, these giants have turned your daily cup into a habit that you just can't shake. And in today's video, we're going to explore this idea and figure out why you're addicted to Starbucks, Dunkin, and Dutch Bros. And it's not just the caffeine. Okay, so first I'm going to be talking just about some generalizations, why Americans or why people are so addicted to coffee shops in general, especially the three I mentioned previously. And then I'm going to get into each of them, Starbucks, Dunkin, and Dutch Bros, why all of them are so addictive. Okay, so coffee equals culture. This is a bit of a stretch, but coffee is really embedded in American culture because let's go back to the Boston Tea Party. It's when colonists rejected British tea in favor of coffee and other caffeinated beverages. And this is like very interesting to think about because, they threw all the tea into the water. And I also know this is kind of a stretch, but if you kind of think about it, it makes sense. And then over time, coffee just became a daily ritual. Morning coffees, work coffee, social coffee, making shops a natural gathering spot. Think about it. I bet in your life you've went to a coffee shop to work on schoolwork or hang out with friends, and this is just an example of why coffee shops have turned into this thing that is just a place to gather, a place to hang out with friends, a place to work on work. And that is why coffee is equaling culture, or coffee shops equals culture, that you can go to. Coffee shops can be known as the third place outside of your home and work. So when people can meet there and relax and hang out and just do work. And especially in urban areas, they offer a comfortable, neutral environment that's both public and cozy. A lot of people have motivation to work on their work if they go to these coffee shops, or it can be a place where you can hang out with friends and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so remote work and freelancing. So we all know remote work, especially social media or any freelance kind of job that you can do online, has made a high rise. So these remote work and gig jobs, coffee shops become an unofficial office. A lot of people need to go somewhere else to work on their work, but sometimes, especially if you live in a big city, it's not feasible to have a desk. It's not feasible to have an extra space to work on your work. So coffee shops such as Dutch Bros, Starbucks, and Dunkin become your space for free Wi-Fi, caffeine, and an outlet which can equal ideal workspace for many, because many people get motivation for going to another place. Variety and customization, and coffee shops 100% deliver this idea. So you can get it iced, blended, oat milk, frozen, extra shot of coffee, no whipped cream, you name it. You can make so many other different customizations with each coffee. Each coffee has unlimited amount of customizations if you think about it, because you can have a certain amount of pumps, a certain amount of ice, the requests you can make. You could have a different coffee every single day if you want. And that is why America loves it, or why people love it. This flexibility feeds into customers' preferences for an idealized experience, so each person can have a different experience. And there's so many different customizations, it causes people to be able to choose what they want. People feel like they have their own drink. People claim that it's their own drink. Think about Starbucks with James Charles. James Charles made the pink drink. James Charles made that, and then people started to get it, so it started to be like, oh, the James Charles drink. But then Starbucks actually put it on their menu. Think about all the different drinks that you can get from Starbucks, Dunkin, Dutch Bros. There is an unlimited amount of customizations, and that is why people are hooked. Okay, sugar, cream, and flavors are desserts disguised as coffee. So many drinks are loaded with these sugars, flavor syrups, whipped cream, and dairy or non-dairy fats. This combination honestly triggers the brain's reward system, essentially the same mechanism behind junk food and cravings, but it's disguised as a coffee, something to perk you up and do better, or another kind of drink, another flavored drink. So think about it. An example is a Starbucks caramel frappuccino. That can have more sugar than a can of Coke, but is marketed as a beverage but not a dessert. This is where these coffee shops are getting such a positive feedback from people because people are like, oh, it's a beverage, it's not a dessert. It's okay for me, it's healthy because it's a beverage. And people don't really look at sugar content and everything, which you shouldn't. You shouldn't look at that because that can be triggering for a lot of other issues that I'm not going to dive into today because it's really complex, but it is not necessarily productive for those types of. Okay, we're all aware about consumerism, but this next one is consumerism and ritual. So grabbing a $5 latte has become a daily habit for so many people. Many people, it's part of convenience, part status symbol. A lot of people, especially people in high school, I remember when I was in high school, I really noticed this, like if you walked in with like Starbucks, you were like that girl. Or even middle school, I remember walking with like Dunkin, I felt like the crap. I felt like the bee's knees. And this has just become a status symbol. It's like, oh, if you can afford this $5 Starbucks, it makes you automatically cool. Or people feel better about themselves walking in with a Starbucks or walking in with Dutch Bros or Dunkin. It's almost become another accessory to everyone's outfits. So brands like Starbucks have turned coffee into a lifestyle and not a beverage. So this is like the crazy thing. It's become a lifestyle for people. It's become a personality trait. And that is what is actually insane. Okay, caffeine dependence and addiction. So Americans are among the biggest caffeine consumers in the whole entire world. Coffee shops are simply the most convenient place to get that fix. Caffeine is a stimulant and is physically addictive. I mean, many people, including myself, I'm not saying that I'm not guilty of this. I'll wake up, I'll have a headache. Like if I don't have coffee or caffeine, I'll have a headache. And that just shows how much caffeine is a stimulant. And it's just such like an addictive thing that people don't even like realize. And it boosts dopamine. Caffeine boosts dopamine. It's the feel good neurostimulator, and it improves alertness, which creates a feedback loop. So it's this cycle from you feel tired, you drink coffee, you feel better, and you repeat that cycle over and over and over again. Chains often use a high amount of caffeine, and they get away with it because, you know, it's not like a can of Coke or a Red Bull, which you can see the nutrition facts on the back. You can obviously see the nutrition facts for all these coffee brands, but they're not as up there, and you can see it like all these other places, and that's why a lot of people don't realize that they even have caffeine content at all. Let's think about the Panera Charged lemonades. There's been a lot of lawsuits about the Panera Charged lemonades because people thought it was more like a Gatorade and rather like a caffeine stimulant. And this is what caused a lot of really sad situations. And, you know, it's good that Panera has been taking, you know, precautions with it, but that's just one example of how if it's not right there in your face, you're not going to really look at it. And if it's a flavored drink like a lemonade or say a refresher, you don't think it has as much caffeine as other things. So these chains offer high caffeine amounts, which is compared to homebrewed coffee, especially in lager drinks. So think about Starbucks Venti, which can have 400 milligrams of caffeine, almost the daily limit of caffeine, and many people drink these day and day over. So that is actually insane. Okay, I'm gonna be talking in the order of Dunkin', Dutch Bros, and Starbucks. So first I'm gonna be talking about Dunkin', formerly known as Dunkin' Donuts. It's become the blue-collar fuel station turned into modern coffee shops or coffee stops. So it has many addictive drivers. So high caffeine in drinks. Dunkin' coffee is weaker than Starbucks, but is still potent, especially with an extra large size, a large cup equaling to coffee of 270 milligrams. So expressive drinks and cool lattes have been added shots or syrups to bump up the buzz. So combo deals with sweet donuts or breakfast sandwiches increase both sugar and fat intake, exchanging and making ecstatic high cravings of these things. You're not only craving a coffee, you're craving a donut, you're craving a sandwich. And it's actually crazy because I was, you know, scrolling through TikTok today, and my lovely friend Natalie, I'll link her YouTube channel below, literally amazing, such a good YouTuber, but she went to Dunkin' today, and it was just basically like, oh, she thought it was a good deal because she got Dunkin' Donuts, she got like a hash browns, a sandwich, and coffee, and she's like, I don't even really like coffee that much, but it was a really good deal, like how can I pass it up? And that's how Dunkin' gets people hooked. They want you to like one of those items to get you hooked and to get you into their system, and this is what it's just insane to like look at it and be like, oh, this like marketing strategy, like it's getting people that don't even like coffee. So like even if you don't like coffee, you don't think you're a victim to how American convenience coffee chains have gotten, like you can still be targeted and you can still be someone that could be feeding into consumerism. And there's nothing wrong with getting coffee. Like I love Starbucks, I love Dunkin. I've actually never had Dutch Bros, but it's not really in my area yet, so I'm super excited to try it when it does come to my area. But yeah, it's just a very interesting thought to think like even people that aren't necessarily the biggest fan of coffee are still being targeted for these deals and stuff. And there's nothing wrong with it, as I said before, but it's just a very interesting thought. Psychological hooks. So low price plus convenience equals daily habit. Dunkin' is often cheaper than Starbucks or Dutch Bros, which makes it a no-brainer stop for consumers. Reward system, Dunkin' Rewards. You earn points, get birthday drinks, and get exclusive promos tied to frequent visits. I know there's been a bunch of times where like you could get a free like Dunkin' Donuts drink. It was like, oh, put this code in on the app and it'll give you free. And like it went viral on TikTok and it was like actually a thing, which is actually really interesting. So their slogan, America runs on Dunkin', reinforces coffee as an essential fuel and not just a luxury. Rather than being a luxury, it's a necessity. And that is actually the crazy part. So now marketing and image, so once associated with the working class culture, now tries to modernize with cold brews, oat milk, and sleek stores. So Dunkin' has been changing their stores a lot, and I've been seeing a lot of, there's a Dunkin' by me that actually you can't even sit inside. It's just like a to-go Dunkin', which I think is very interesting, but I digress. Oh, sorry, I thought someone called me and I was like, what? But it's just group chat. But then the other one, it keeps the no frills energy, but adds enough trendiness. So they have pumpkin spice, they had avocado toast, and this adds to the wider base. So massive presence in Northeast, which is a daily ritual for millions. So Dunkins are really good at putting their stores in strategic places where Starbucks isn't or any other coffee shop isn't. So it becomes like these small community staple. And I feel like they were doing a little better back in the day, or especially during like 2020, 2021, I can't remember the exact date, but when they had the Charlie D'Amelio drinks and all that kind of stuff, like I remember having to go to Dunkin' and be like, oh, I need the Charlie D'Amelio drink, or whatever her name is. But I remember, you know, when she was blown up, everyone was like, oh my goodness, Charlie D'Amelio. And, you know, obviously that's like product placement at its finest, having a girl like obviously, maybe she actually really did like Dunkin', but also social media is so fake. I have zero clue, and you know, you can't really trust anything on social media, but that's a whole nother thing. But it's just crazy that they product placed that enough for people to be fooled. And especially me, I was fooled. I mean, I was in high school, so I was like, oh my goodness, Charlie D'Amelio, like that girl, I need to try her favorite drink. It wasn't even that good. But let's move on to the next one. Okay, so now we're on to Dutch Bros, and I also want to just be transparent here with a full disclaimer. I've actually never had Dutch Bros. I've been seeing it a lot on my TikTok, which has made me a little more visual to it, but it's not really in my area yet, which I'm excited to try it because it's supposed to come to my area soon. But if some of the information's wrong in here, please correct me in the comments or just like put your 2 cents in it down below, because I am just seeing what I'm seeing online, so that isn't 100% journalistic integrity or video diary integrity, so I just want to be transparent about that. So Dutch Bros, so they have caffeine carnival with a cult following. So there's a lot of addiction drivers in Dutch Bros because the insane caffeine levels. Some drinks like the 911, which has 6 shots of espresso, which is 500 milligrams of caffeine, which is actually insane. 500 milligrams of caffeine is actually holy guacamole. But energy drinks, Dutch Bros offers customers to custom these Red Bull drinks like electric berry aftershock, caffeine and loaded with sugar and artificial flavors. So the sweetness scale is honestly off the charts. So many drinks contain 70 to 100 grams of sugar, often without the customer even realizing it when you're customizing it. So there's a lot of psychological hooks. So over the top friendliness, employees are trained to be super high energy and form a personal connection with regulars. Think about like Chick-fil-A. they're a little controversial as a brand, but Chick-fil-A is really good at being super sweet to all their customers, making people come back and back. A positive customer experience is always going to want the customer to come back. If you have a negative experience, obviously you're never going to want to come back. But if your employee is really friendly, especially to a regular, it's going to want them to come over and over and over until they get addicted. And that's basically what Dutch Bros is trying to do. So customer or custom culture. So you create your own drinks, unique names, combos, toppings. It builds this emotional ownership. I was talking before with Starbucks, like you can customize it. It's your drink. No one owns that drink but you. You feel like it is your drink. And also like for like the next one, this is like kind of silly, like it reminds me of Planet Fitness, but like the no judgment zone. So if you want a blue raspberry soda with cream and whip, it's totally normal there. So that's just, I kind of giggled when I wrote that. I was like, no judgment zone. What am I, Planet Fitness? What is this Planet Fitness? But yeah. And now for the third one, marketing and community. So Dutch Bros is a youth-focused, rebellious, and high-energy and less quiet coffee house and more hype station. So this is way more attractive to consumers like Gen Z or people that, you know, want a fun energy place rather than, you know, like you want to talk to your friends, you want to hang out with your friends, not like a Starbucks where they're going to yell at you or there's going to be some old men like giving you dirty looks. So drive-through only in many locations, which means faster, more casual. So especially if you can make a connection with someone through a drive-through, that's actually insane. And that says a lot about their employees and a lot about their hiring practices and their strategy. But also, again, I've never been there, so I can't really say my 2 cents. So they have merch, stickers, and cups, and collectibles, which is especially really cool for among teens and Gen Z. They like to collect things, especially if they love it so much. I mean, I love Starbucks. Like I really do enjoy Starbucks, and the amount of stuff I have, like collectible cups and stuff from Starbucks, is actually insane. So they call their employees the brostitas, I think that's what you say, and have a cult-like brand language that fans identify with. So I'm not really sure how much I know about this, but just okay. Last but not least, we have Starbucks. So luxury ritual in a cup. Starbucks, for millions of people, it's their daily stop at Starbucks, and people just do this every single day without a question. So there's a lot of addictive drivers in this. The caffeine content at Starbucks serves stronger coffee than average. A venti something has 410 milligrams of caffeine, which is the same as 4 Red Bulls. Again, I feel like I would have a heart attack. So there's a sugar overload in a lot of these drinks. So white chocolate mocha can contain 60 plus grams of sugar, more than 2 Snicker bars. Size options, tall to Trenta. So there's tall, grande, venti, Trenta. So it normalizes supersized caffeine hits, building tolerance and dependence. Think about it, like a venti is like the size of my face. And I always get a venti because I'm like, oh, venti, I want a lot of it. And it's just honestly created like a dependence and builds tolerance. I mean, honestly, sometimes I'll be sitting there like, man, I really want a chai tea latte, or man, I really want a strawberry acai refresher. And that, oh my goodness, y'all, this is so strange. I just got a Starbucks notification. They're listening to me. Anyways, they're like, we know you're addicted. Okay, so now for psychological hooks, personalization. There's not 100, oh my goodness, Veronica, speak right. 1,000 plus combinations of milk, syrups, temperatures, toppings. People associate their drinks with their identities, such as all the other places. You can customize these drinks. You really feel like you created these drinks. So naming, like everything that they have with the naming, tall, grande, venti, adds a sense of exclusivity to the brand and culture. Like if you don't know the names, like you're a newbie and you feel like you associate there and you feel like you're really there. And another thing I want to say is like customization Starbucks drinks have really become really popular on TikTok, and people are like, oh, try this, this, and this, and then people like feel like they own it. And also, again, the James Charles drink, like the pink drink, I don't really want to call the James Charles drink because I'm not the biggest fan of that person, but like the pink drink and, you know, all those customization drinks and everything, they just become super duper popular. And also think about the unicorn frappuccino. I'll insert it here. If you know, you know. That was actually disgusting. I remember trying that. I remember dragging my poor sweet mom to get me that. But they have all these like weird exclusive drinks, and it's very interesting to think about. So then loyalty program, the stars. So it makes consumption and consumerism go because you buy more equals earn rewards, and then you feel like you're winning. The more you buy, the more rewards you get, and the more you feel like you're winning, which is a very interesting thought, because Starbucks also has like that wrapped program. You see how much you spent in a year, and there was like people that spent like $3,000. I'm like, you could buy a car with that. But anyways, marketing and lifestyle is what we're going to get into now. So Starbucks doesn't just sell coffee. It sells comfort, productivity, and indulgence. And if anything, I would say it sells luxury. It sells these endorphins that get put in your head. You're like, oh, it's not just coffee, it's a lifestyle. It's my lifestyle now. It's what's making me bougie. And a lot of people, you know, they want to look rich, even if they're not rich, and Starbucks is the place to do that. So the store feels like your third place between your home and your work. It's designed with calming music, cozy furniture, and ambiance lighting. And having Starbucks cup equals a status social symbol of being trendy or self-caring. And this is what people feed into. And that's why Starbucks has become so popular. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Down below, please put what's your favorite drink or that you get from Starbucks, Dunkin, or Dutch Bros. And also put what you like the best. And also put some recommendations of what kind of videos you want me to make in the future. But I hope you guys enjoyed. I really like making these videos, and I hope you guys have a good day. Bye! Also, make sure to like and subscribe.